Hello plant community, thanks for tuning into this channel. My name is Pam, and today you guys we're going to have a casual conversation about this beautiful plant baby right here, this beautiful Syngonium Chiapense. I'm so excited you guys to actually have this plant as part of my collection. It has been on my wish list for quite some time, and a year or so ago the plant price on this has been skyrocketing, but I'm so happy to see that the prices are now coming down to be a little bit more affordable, even though I'm kind of surprised or pondering why this plant was really expensive to begin with, because the propagation for this plant is so quick and so easy, and you guys will see a little later with the ending segment of that. But I've had this plant in my collection, you guys, for at least 6 months. And even though I haven't had it for a full year, I do want to share with you guys what I do to keep it growing and thriving. And as you can see, it's a pretty fast grower. So yeah, I just want to share with you what's going on with it, what I'm doing with it, and you can take bits and pieces from it if you feel that you can apply it to make a happier, healthier plant if you are struggling with this particular one. So let's just dive right into it. I first want to talk about is actually the lighting of this plant. Now, it's not really getting a whole lot of natural light. I specifically have this plant literally growing underneath of one of my Sansi lights. It's sitting in my living room in one of a dark corner of my home, and it tends to love it. What I am noticing though, in regards to this Syngonium, now being though that the leaves are very matte and it's a little thicker than what you would expect from most Syngoniums, because they are like a thinner leaf plant, but this one is a little bit thicker in variety, and I do believe that this plant can do well in almost all lighting situations. I do not recommend, however, putting this in a low light situation. I would think that I feel like this plant will do well in a medium to a bright and direct lighting. So please keep that in mind. I don't think it would do well or grow fast for you in a lower light situation. But it's up to you. You can try and see. But my experience is that it thrives on a little bit more light than we think. Now, watering. Watering, you guys, this is a Syngonium, and from what I've experienced, all of my Syngoniums for the most part is thirsty. This plant is not really forgiving when you miss, at least in my opinion. My experience is not forgiving if you miss a watering. If you go a few days without watering this plant, the leaves will turn yellow, it will crisp up, and will die basically. So what I try to do is I want to make sure that I am watering this plant when 1 inch of the soil is dry. And keep in mind, to test that theory, please use the fingers. Is the best tool you have. You can use a moisture meter as well, but the finger works as well. 1 inch, remember, 1 inch is the first knuckle, 2 inch the second knuckle. So you stick your finger in the soil, and when you feel the top inch of the soil is dry, you want to give it a drink. Now there's a couple of other things that you can do, because Syngoniums are known to be a more thirstier plant, and depending on your lifestyle, you may not have the time to keep up with this watering regimen. So you can do a couple of things to remedy that. I have it, as you can see, it's in a glazed pot. And I want to say the inside is glazed too. And it's fine for me because my soil mix is very airy. So you could, one, put your plant in a glazed pot that will hold on to moisture longer if you choose to do that. You have to ensure that your soil is really airy. It can't be a combination of two. Glazed pot and dense soil means rotten roots for sure. So I recommend don't do that. Or you could actually put it in a self-watering pot where you can, sit it and forget it. Or you could have it in a porous pot and just make the soil not as airy. So for me, my traditional mix usually requires a lot of different planting mediums combined into my regular potting soil, which can range between pumice, perlite, orchid bark, leca balls, things like that. So you may not need to put all of that. You might want to pull back a little bit with your perlite to make it a little bit not dense, but not too airy. That way it will hold on to the moisture a little bit longer. Now, if you are doing that, you definitely want to make sure you are sticking your finger in that soil and checking each and every time before you water, because it is very easy to rotten the roots of this plant. Now, let's talk about fertilization. You guys, fertilization for me is honestly, it's been a very fast grower, especially under the Sansy light. I don't know if the Sansy light, you guys, is doing the trick, is making it grow, but I believe in any lighting situation outside of a low light situation that this plant will be a pretty fast grower. And it's been really popping out leaves. I've had it for 6 months, so that means when I purchased this plant, you guys, I purchased it over the winter season, and it never skipped a beat, believe it or not. So I fertilize this plant each and every time because it has not thus far stopped from growing. So as long as the plant is growing, is giving me new leaves, then I will feed it. Now, in regards to pest, you guys, knock on wood, knock on wood, I haven't had any experience with pests. However, one of the most common pests that you can have for Syngoniums is actually spider mites. And one way to make sure that you are not getting it is you want to spray your leaves as often as possible. And I don't mean spray them and leave it be. I don't really recommend doing that because spraying water sometimes on your leaves and leaving them be can introduce other problems and things into your plant, such as fungal issues and things like that. So I don't recommend doing that. If you spray your leaves, which I do, you still want to probably take that opportunity to wipe down your leaves. Considering the Syngonium is such a flat, spear-shaped like plant here, it's a very easy one to wipe down from the top as well as the undersides of the leaves, and you can actually check in between the crevices for those nasty spider mite boogers that invade our plants and give us HELL. But so yeah, and so because of that, I find myself really wiping down this plant a little bit more often than I guess even need be. So I haven't had any issues with that, but that is probably one of my steps to doing a pre-pest management. When I wipe down the leaves, I have usually my micro fiber cloth here because I do notice that this plant, beautiful as it is, it can get dusty. So I do wipe it and I give an opportunity to actually inspect it and look under the leaves. And this is one of the latest leaves, you guys, to actually, and you probably can tell, I don't know, because it's kind of so slightly lighter than the other. I don't know, looks like it. Yeah, so I haven't had any pests. Now, in regards to toxicity, you guys, unfortunately, this plant is toxic. So if you have a curious little child roaming around, or even a curious animal that loves digging and getting it into your plants, this is one that you really don't want to have in their area. So if you do have this, I recommend putting this plant somewhere out of reach so that they can't get to it. Humidity. I don't have any issues with humidity. I believe this particular Syngonium is not really pressed on humidity. Again, I have this plant sitting in my living room in a dark corner of my home area, in that room actually, with a Sansy light, and the humidity in that area is ranging between 40 to 45%. So believe me when I tell you this plant is really not big on humidity at all. Very beautiful, very easy care plant. I mean, look at that, you guys. It is just, and I'm about to show you, it's also very easy to propagate. And I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit so you guys can see me, because I want to actually pot up a couple of cuttings that I took. Hang tight. Okay, guys, so you really can't see me, and that's okay, because the star of the show is this beautiful plant. Now, I do want to pot up. I wanted to take the time to show you. I think this is actually my first time cutting this particular plant, and I've had this these cuttings rooted in water for at least 4 weeks, and it's time. Honestly, you guys, I should have been potted up the leaves or the cuttings, but I want to show you how quickly they respond to that. I cut the stem right here. I don't know if you can see that. And look, it's already growing a whole nother shoot. And like I said, it's constantly growing. But let's take a look at the roots. I'm gonna pull it out, you guys. I think this is like either 2 or 3 cuttings. I'm not 100% sure. And I've had it sitting in the same area where I keep this plant, potted up just in this water. And let's take a look at the roots and see if I can. Okay, so yeah, it was 2 cuttings. Look, wow, look at that. Look at that. Root on root action there. 4 weeks, you guys. And I want to say after 2 weeks, I've started seeing roots growing already. Keep in mind, you don't want to pot any of your cuttings up until you have at least 2 inches of roots. And as you can see, it is well past the 2 inches. And what's interesting, you guys, is I cut this when it was actually 2 leaves. I want to say, I think this is the leaf that grew, and I think it is. You can see because it's the lighter out of the 2. See how these are darker than that? This is the new growth that has transpired. So I am going to plant it down in here, and I'm super excited to do that because I really want this plant to be oh so full and beautiful. So I have my little stick I use to just kind of like open up the, you try your best not to damage any roots. Considering these root systems seem thicker, they're not a fine root, I'm not really too concerned about if I break a root. Now I just got to figure out which way do I want it facing. I think I want the leaves to come out this way, so I will see if I can get it down in there. And see. Oh yeah. Gotta be careful though. I don't want to crunch anything, and I don't want to break a stem. Okay. I don't put too much pressure on there. One time I did that before. I pushed it down too hard, and I wound up snapping the whole leaf all together. I guess a hazard that I learned. So let's see. I want to put one here. At first I was thinking about actually growing this plant on a trellis, you guys, because at the time when I got it, I think it was either 1 or 2 stems. But I don't want to now. I love the way that it looks, and I'm gonna see what it does. If anything, I may just put a bamboo stake just to support it as it's constantly growing up, and then I can see from there what I need to do. Okay, so and I'm doing it now because actually the top inch of the soil is actually dry. It's not moist. I want to keep in mind this plant loves being moist but not wet. And I mean, look at that. Look at that, guys. That looks absolutely wonderful. And what I think I'm going to do, just to kind of hold them together, because I had this little stick. Now, mind you, when I brought it, you guys, to give you any perspective, the leaves was literally at the height of this stake. And as you can see how full it has gotten within a 6-month time frame, as well as outgrow the stake. But I am still going to use it for some form of holding it up for support. A little bit. See if I got enough. See, yep, it's enough. Love these Velcro strips. And voila, that is beautiful. What do you think? So I don't waste the water, and I believe You know, there's no scientific proof at all, you guys, to what I'm saying in regards to the water. But I do believe using the same water that you propagated it in kind of help the propagations realize that they are at home. And so give her a nice little drink. And voila. So I'm going to move you guys up so we talk about a little bit of extra. Okay, you guys. So really quick, like I said, I just usually wipe down the leaves. I give myself an opportunity to check for pests. I just not too long ago wiped the leaves down. But once again, what I've noticed, at least, I don't know, maybe my home is a little bit dustier than normal, but I noticed this plant collects a lot of dust. And because I love it so much, you guys, I really don't have any issues with wiping it down. I really love this plant. I love the foliage. I mean, look at the leaves, you guys. It is absolutely beautiful. So if you don't have a Syngonium Chiapense, you guys, I strongly encourage you guys to get one. Yeah, so easy care. Now, the one that I'm actually sorting after right now, but of course the price for those are just high, is the variegated version of this. I've seen a couple of them and they are magnificent, absolutely beautiful. I wonder though if the care is similar to this. You guys, if any of you own the actual variegated Syngonium Chiapense, please comment and let us know how easygoing it is. Is it a challenge to grow them? I'm curious. You know, I'm on the fence a little bit, and this is the reason why. Because of its cousin that I'm about to share with you, and y'all may already know what I'm talking about, but this thing right here, Miss Girly, the frosted heart. Pardon me, because I got to talk to this diva right here. So I'm putting her to the side. Now this one, you guys, this is the cousin, which is the Frosted Heart Syngonium. I've had this plant in my collection now for a year and a half. And I was struggling with this plant. This plant to me is not as easy care as the Syngonium Chiapense. And like I said before, that plant was on my top wish list. But I could not find that plant at the time, about a year and a half ago. And when I did come across it, it was just a little bit too expensive for me. But magically, the price here for this plant at that time was a little bit more reasonable. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go for this. And, you know, I'm pretty much starting all over with this plant. This plant gave me the blues. And I don't know why, because I was giving it, I thought in my mind at that time, ample lighting conditions, proper watering and things like that. And I don't know what happened. It was almost like the root system was not doing so well. So, you know, I got down to some very bad leaves. Like I was losing all the leaves. And I said, you know what? I don't want to lose this girlie. So I just took her out of the dirt. I took her out of the soil. I started over. Start her over from scratch. This baby was started over from scratch. I put her in water and I took her out of my home and brought her in here. And she still is in here. She's actually on one of my stands up against this, southwest facing window or one of the windows here. And I've had her in water for extremely long period of time. I allowed her root system to really grow or mature before I even put her in this planter. Now I made sure to put her in a plastic planter because she does not like drying out. But I do feel she needs brighter, even brighter light than her cousin, the Syngonium Chiapense. And it's so funny to me that I hope that I'll be able to get the leaves to be as big as this one. But they are very beautiful plants nonetheless. It's just that this one requires a little bit more, I don't know, you need more talking to, you need more coaching, you need more finessing, you need more caressing. And, you know, she is like, she really done a turnaround about, because I was this close to say, and, you know, giving her a foot in the patootie because she was getting on my last nerve. But now you are doing fine. I just have her on like this little plastic, I don't even know where I got this. I just, you know how you get pieces and parts and things, you just keep it because I just keep them because I'm like, okay, I may be able to use them and try to recycle it in some kind of way. And I'm just using it as a stand because I needed something that would actually go into the soil without breaking down and degrading in some way. It's not very aesthetically pleasing, but I really wasn't going after that with this plant. My goal was just trying to keep her alive and thriving. So, and I also put some pumice on top to kind of hold. My thought process with that is to hold the moisture in even a little bit longer before giving her water. So far, so good, because I really thought that she was going to do bad once I transitioned her from the water into the soil. But she has acclimated very well. So far, since she's been growing in the soil, she has grown this leaf right here. You know, it's not that big of a leaf, you know, and I'm okay if she just continuously give me this, I'm fine with. But she's also growing this little growth point, a new leaf already. So she's doing fairly well. So because of this diva right here, I am curious, is the variegated version of this lovely thing a little fussy? I would love to know. Please comment below and share with us, child, before we go ahead and spend arms and legs and possibly some of our muscles for plants. And I'm just saying that loosely as a joke because, of course, I wouldn't do that. And I don't encourage you guys to do that as well. But yeah, this is pretty much it for this video, you guys. I hope you was able to pull away what you could, apply what you can. If you are struggling with this baby, I believe I provided some very helpful tips and gave you a little bit more insight. The key to her, really, as far as thriving, hands down, the water and light. I know I say that with a lot of my plants, but that is really the key to making sure that they are healthy, happy, thriving, and doing well, and giving us what we all sought after to get, and that's that fullness of the foliage. So keep in mind, you guys, if you love foliage as much as I do, and you love listening to planty things, you haven't subscribed yet, child, what are you waiting for? Go on and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget, you guys, push the thumbs up. Push them up because they have been helping. Yay! I'm so excited about that. Thank you, guys. Couldn't do it without you. Enjoy your day wherever you are in the world, and until next time, guys, much love. Bye. Oh, she wanted to say bye too, you guys.